Hi everyone. So I just found a new list that just came out, and I think it was just this week. And the website is Consequence. 100 Greatest Bassists of All Time. So I'm sure Paul McCartney is on the list because I see him pictured, and Geddy Lee, Tina from Talking Heads, Lee from Red Hot Chili Peppers. The one The one bassist I doubt is on this list and probably in my top five. Chris Squire, of course, of Yes, is probably going to be on the list. I hope so. But one bassist that should be on the list and probably won't is Mel Shocker from Grand Funk Railroad. So let's check this out, and I would love your thoughts as always. Please remember to thumbs up the video and leave a comment, of course. And be subscribed. Thank you. Number 100, Troy Sanders. Okay, he's from the band Mastodon. I've never heard. I think he needs a haircut. Jenny Lee Lindbergh. Never heard of. Leland Schuyler, the great studio musician. Yeah, he's played for Carole King, Phil Collins, Linda Ronstadt. He's got his own website that I watch sometimes. Really nice. Seems to be a really nice guy. He should be higher on the list because I remember his bass work from some of the James Taylor albums, and always really impressive. Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick. Yeah. The 12-string bass. Yeah. George Porter Jr. Oh, from the Meters. Okay, I've heard of the Meters. Just some of the names I'm probably not going to be familiar with. I've heard of her. She played in Hole, Smashing Pumpkins. Nick Harmer from Death Cab for Cutie. Nick West. He's played with her. She has played with Prince, Eurythmics Dave Stewart, John Mayer, Alex Webster, founding bassist for Cannibal Corpse. Yeah, Christ from Nirvana. Doug Pinnick. King's X. I've never heard the band. I've heard of them, of course, but never heard their music. Mike Dirnt. Green Day. Steve DiGiorgio. He's in the band Death, I believe. Yeah. Suzi Quatro. Yeah. Legendary rocker Suzi Quatro. Never heard of him. Phil Lynott. I've never pronounced his name before. I've just seen it for many years. But of course, from Thin Lizzy. Great bassist and singer. Martin Mendez from Opeth. I've heard some Opeth. When I do my Patreon reaction, sometimes I'll get a request for them. They're pretty good. Scott LaFaro. He was in the Bill Evans Trio. Dave Elfison. Megadeth. Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead. Never really a big Grateful Dead fan. Okay, and this is, I think my buddy Morris Gotro would recognize this bassist. He's from the band Tool. Yeah, some of these I don't know. Roger Glover, of course, from Deep Purple. Nice to see him in the list. Yeah, Highway Star, like his bass playing. Highway Star, Space Truckin', Burn. Brian Ritchie, Doug Wimbish from Living Colour. That's a great band. The Pixies. Michael Anthony from Van Halen, and of course his great backup vocals for the band too. Joe Laley. John Deacon from Queen. Besides being a great bassist, he wrote some really good songs. Like Another One Bites the Dust. I Want to Break Free. A few others. David Hood. Eric Avery. Jane's Addiction. Never really got into them. Rick Danko from the band. And also such a great singer too. Yeah, some of these I'm not familiar with. Eno played. He played on the early Peter Gabriel albums. Paul Jackson. I don't see Mel Shocker from Grand Funk. I have a feeling he's not going to show up. Yeah, Gail Landorsi. She was in David Bowie's band. She was awesome, or is awesome. Gang of Four. Tears for Fears. Noel Redding from the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Yeah. Paul Chambers. Miles Davis. Tal. Wilkenfeld. Yeah. She played with Jeff Beck. Amazing. And Eric Clapton, Prince, Mick Jagger, Brian Wilson, and Ringo Starr. Not bad. Sting, of course, from the Police and solo career. Matt Freeman. Rancid from the band Rancid. Chuck Rainey, I've heard of. Steely Dan, Aretha Franklin. Robbie Shakespeare. Sly and Robbie. Played with Grace Jones, Joe Cocker, Bob Dylan, and No Doubt. Rex Brown, Pantera. Tony Levin. I would have him higher on my list. I love his bass playing. Yeah, King Crimson. He played, of course, on John Lennon's Double Fantasy. Some of these I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce. Michelle something. Charlie Hayden, Ornette Coleman Quartet. Trevor Dunn. Played in Mr. Bungle. Melvins. Bob Moore. Played with Patsy Cline, Elvis Presley. The Metallica bassist. Yeah. D.D. Ramone. Yeah, he was, technically he wasn't probably that great, but for the Ramone sound, he was just perfect. I especially love his bass playing on their debut album. Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones, yeah. Tim Comerford. Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave. Greg Lake from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Great singer, too. Kim Deal from the Pixies. Simon Gallup from The Cure. Yeah. I love the bass playing in The Cure on those early albums especially were so good. Anthony Jackson. More jazz. Roger Waters from Pink Floyd. Marcus Miller. More jazz. Yeah, like I've mentioned before, Dream Theater, that's one of the few prog bands that I've never really checked out. Maybe I should. John Cale from the Velvet Underground, of course, a long solo career. Mike Mills from REM. Still no sign of poor Mel from Grand Funk Railroad. John McVie, Fleetwood Mac, yeah, awesome bass playing. Rhonda Smith, Canadian bassist. So she played with Prince. Ray Brown worked with Ella Fitzgerald. Billy Sheehan, yeah, Mr. Big. Played with David Lee Roth. Thundercat, never heard of that name before. Mike Watt from Minutemen. Lemmy, the awesome Lemmy, of course, before Motorhead, he was in Hawkwind, another band I really love. Yeah, his bass playing was so good. Ron Carter, I've heard of. Paul from The Clash. I love The Clash. Never heard of this bassist. Chris Squire at 26. Now I'm mad. He should be, if not number one, he should be in the top 5 at least. Don't you agree with me? You better agree with me. Yeah, he's way too low. So, Kim Gordon, nothing against Kim Gordon, but Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth is ahead of Chris Squire from Yes. Now I'm really angry. Donald Duck Dunn, Booker T and the MGs. He cut records with Otis Redding, Bill Withers, Elvis Presley. Jack Bruce from Cream. Yeah. Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath. Yeah. Great bassist, songwriter for Black Sabbath. But definitely he's not as good as Chris Squire from Yes for playing bass. Top 20, Larry Graham, Sly and the Family Stone. Loves Sly and the Family Stone. John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin. I think he's too low in the ranking also. Should be top 10. Vernon White, Earth, Wind and Fire. Peter Hook from Joy Division and New Order. Bernard Edwards from, Chick and Sister Sledge. There's Tina Weymouth from Talking Heads. But as she's a great bassist, of course, but no way is she better than Chris Squire. Come on. Cliff Burton from Metallica. Les Claypool, yeah. I never bought any of his albums, but with is it Primus? Is that how you pronounce it? But he's done a couple of albums with Sean Lennon that I have, the Claypool Lennon Delirium, and I love them. They're incredible. He should be in the top 10. Stanley Clarke, yeah, the great Stanley Clarke. He's played with Paul McCartney, Jeff Beck, Keith Richards, Return to Forever. So here is the top 10. Maybe Mel Shocker from Grand Funk Railroad is in the top 10. Maybe he's number 1. John Entwistle from The Who, yeah, definitely should be in the top 10. I'd have him maybe in the top 5. Charles Mingus, bassist, jazz bassist. Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. Bootsy Collins. Geddy Lee at number 6. What do you people out there think of that? I think I don't know, as much as I love, I'm joking, not joking, but Mel Shocker, for me, would be in the top 10 at least. But my number 1 would be either Geddy Lee or Chris Squire. I think I would go with Chris Squire and then Geddy Lee. Flea, yeah, he's an awesome bassist. Carol Kay, I've heard of her many times, yeah. Jacko, I've heard of him. I've heard of Paul McCartney. Nice to see him so high in the ranking. I don't know about number 2, though. I mean, definitely top. Well, for me, personally, it would be top 5. But for a real list of ranking all of the great bassists in the world, he'd have to be at least in the top 10. So top being number 2, maybe he's ranked a little too high, but still, I love his bass work throughout the years. So who's left at number 1? I have no idea. Oh, James Jamerson. The Funk Brothers, I've heard of them, of course. Yeah. So, yeah. A pretty good list. Are there any bassists out there you think are missing? Some of the rankings are a little off, for me at least, but still, overall, a lot of great bassists in this ranking. So, yeah, I would love your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.